Phil's different from a lot of the firms out there, and I'm talking about firm attorneys that I've worked with, and I've worked with many large firms. My name is John Harbour. I was a patent attorney for many, many years. I retired just a year ago from Johnson & Johnson after 30 years, and I was also at Merck and GE for almost 5 years each. When I started at J&J now in the early 90s, I was drafting patent applications for J&J in its Phil was a corporate attorney at the time, and he was a great resource for me in learning to draft agreements and all the various sections that needed to go into those agreements. He was a teacher to me at that time. I know Phil Crowley well. Those license agreements in the early 90s were complicated enough, and I knew certain sections that needed to go in there. Phil, being a corporate guy, knew many of the other sections that needed to go in, and so in those early agreements, I wasn't so familiar with the clauses that didn't directly impact the licensing grants. And Phil and I sat down. We made a list of as many different sections as we possibly could, and discussed the appropriateness of whether those sections applied in this case, didn't apply, and it was a big help in getting started in drafting agreements. I'll always be thankful to him for that. He's thorough, is what I would say. I know that over the course of the 27 years, Phil started in the corporate group and then took on various different roles. And in each of those roles, he was thorough, is what I would call it. When you went in and discussed something with Phil, you had confidence that you had touched all the bases. And then with that information, with having kind of looked in the corners of all the issues, you had a great deal of confidence that you understood the landscape well enough to properly apply those issues in the situation that you were in. I just have confidence when I'm dealing with Phil that things are the way they should be. Phil is always thinking about your issue. It's in the back of his mind, and I'm sure when he's getting into the car, there's always the famous analogy, I was thinking about it in the shower. But Phil doesn't stop thinking about an issue that is concerning to him, and that he'll certainly think about that. Whoever's on the fence, you'll get someone who's focused on your issue. I've got to say that, since his retirement, when I look back on it for all of his career, Phil is an active person. He stays active in building for his future and for his clients' future. You might say he's a go-getter, but I would say active is the better word. I've worked with a lot of big firms, and they have a large team of people backing things up. And I noticed that when I'm looking at a team of 5 people, they've come off another call. Certainly that's the way attorneys have to be, and they're on your call, and then the team assembles. Phil is very personal in the services that he provides. Phil's very personal in his understanding of your issue. He's very personal in delivering the advice that needs to be given. Phil enjoys working with his clients and solving the issues that are in front of him. Phil enjoys doing what he's doing, and that enjoyment leads to solutions to problems that others may not be able to give.